Hidden in the heart of Saudi Arabia is a valley whose name has bewildered, confused, and sometimes terrified people for centuries. It is said that here, cars start moving on their own, with the engines turned off. Stones float in the air as if pulled by some invisible force. Even the most modern scientific instruments often behave abnormally here. This is Wadi Al Jinn, or the Valley of the Jinns, where it is believed the boundary between the visible and invisible worlds is dangerously thin. For nearly 1400 years, Islamic scholars have mentioned the abnormalities of this region in various writings. In the stories passed down by word of mouth among them, the darkness of night turns this valley into a door to another shadow-covered world. In the modern era, many researchers and scientists have courageously gone there to investigate. But most have returned with more questions than expectations. Some remain silent to this day about what they saw or felt. Why do cars move forward without their own power? What invisible influence forces a compass to spin like it is crazy? And do the caves, which many consider to be gathering places for jinns, truly hide some ancient mysterious history deep within them? To know the answer, watch the video until the end. If you like the video, definitely subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Comment in our comment box on what kind of videos you want to see. What happens in Wadi Al Jinn challenges all established concepts regarding our physical world. To Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Islam has always taught us about these invisible entities, stating that jinns exist in a world parallel to ours. But Wadi Al Jinn is such a place where it seems that the parallel world has momentarily merged with our reality. This mysterious valley spans several kilometers through rocky deserts. Its name seems to open up stories hidden deep in history. Long before modern supernatural researchers came here with their equipment, the local people called it Wadi Al Jinn. The curtain between the two worlds becomes thinner, but the matter is not limited only to folklore or ancient superstitions. In recent decades, after Saudi Arabia became more open to scientific research and international exploration, video footage shows cars climbing steep paths on their own without any power source. Blurred lines of strange floating lights have been captured in various photos of the valley's sky. Sounds are heard in audio recordings that are absolutely impossible to exist in this desolate, barren desert. Many drivers claim that when they turn off the engine and put the car in neutral, it is as if some invisible force pushes the car. The car slowly starts to move forward, and many report that within a short time, it reaches speeds of 120 kilometers per hour. Surprisingly, this happens even in places that appear to be on an upward slope, meaning it seems as though the car is going up against gravity. Local tour guides show visitors this strange phenomenon with their own eyes. However, they always warn them, especially not to stay in the valley for too long after evening. Scientists have presented various theories to explain this unusual movement. According to some, according to others, it is actually a type of optical illusion, where the eye incorrectly sees the slope as upward, whereas in reality it is downward. But these theories seem to fail in many cases. Even more unsettling is the behavior of electronic equipment. Digital cameras suddenly turn off, but if moved a few meters away, they start working properly again. GPS devices give impossible location readings. And radios sometimes pick up such strange transmissions that sound like an unknown ancient language. Voices that seem to rise from deep within the rocks. Dr. Ahmed Al-Rashid, a physicist from King Saud University, they repeatedly observed the temperature suddenly dropping up to 15 degrees Celsius within an area of just a few square kilometers. Yet the surrounding temperature remained the same. Even more surprising was that this low-temperature cold spot was moving over the valley following an invisible path. The electromagnetic measurements taken by Dr. Al-Rashid's team were unusual. The instruments detected magnetic changes that were surprisingly fluctuating in a rhythm like a heartbeat. But the most uncomfortable aspect of Wadi Al Jinn is not the data recorded by scientific instruments, but the personal experiences of the people there. Many visitors report feeling as if someone invisible is looking at them. Others say someone is calling them by name in a soft voice from inside the empty valley, yet there is no one else there. Figures that vanish the moment one tries to get close or take a picture. These experiences align perfectly with Islamic teachings about jinns, who are created from smokeless fire and live in a world parallel to ours. The Holy Quran mentions jinns in multiple verses. It describes them as intelligent beings who have free will. Unlike angels, who are created from light and always obey Allah, jinns, like humans, have the power to choose their path. In Surah Al Jinn, Allah has revealed that jinns listened to the Quran recitation and were influenced by its truth. Some among them believed and submitted to Allah, while others rejected the message. However, it also means that some have chosen the path of rebellion against Allah and His guidance. Prophet Hazrat Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, taught us many things about jinns through his authentic sayings preserved in hadith collections. Sharing the same physical space, but existing in a different dimension of reality. They can take various forms. They can appear as animals, humans, or other creatures when they want to reveal themselves in our world. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, also informed us that jinns, like humans, have cities, markets, and gathering places. Some are righteous believers who worship Allah, while others follow the first individual to rebel against Allah, Satan, Iblis. This rebellion occurred when Allah commanded all beings to prostrate before Adam, alayhi salam, and Iblis refused due to pride and arrogance. When we consider Wadi Al Jinn in the light of these Islamic teachings, If this valley serves as one of the traditional gathering places for jinns, then the intersection of their world with ours could naturally create effects that our limited human senses and scientific equipment struggle to understand. The location of Wadi Al Jinn is also significant from an Islamic perspective. The same region where Prophet Hazrat Muhammad ﷺ received his mission and where the early Muslim community was established. This is the land where the Quran was first revealed, where the Prophet ﷺ preached religion to both humans and jinns. The Quran tells us that when the jinns heard the Quran recitation, they said to their people, "O our people, indeed we have heard a book revealed after Moses, which confirms what came before it, which guides to the truth and to a straight path." This indicates that the jinns actively listened to the Prophet's recitation and conveyed the message to their own community. Where jinns gathered to hear divine revelation, then it would be logical for the valley to hold special spiritual significance. The continued gathering of jinns in this place today, even 14 centuries after the time of the Prophet ﷺ, could explain the cause of these events. Local Bedouin tradition supports this theory. Where travelers camping in the valley heard the sound of recitation echoing from the rocks. They described nights when the desert would come alive with invisible gatherings, when the wind itself would hum with spiritual energy. These accounts predate modern scientific investigations by centuries. The caves scattered across Wadi Al Jinn hold special importance in local folklore. These natural formations in the rocky hills are said to serve as council meeting halls for jinns, places where they gather to discuss matters of both their world and ours. Bedouin guides specifically warn visitors not to enter these caves. There are stories that some researchers ignored this warning and entered the caves, emerging hours later in a state of confusion and fear. Some report conversations with invisible entities, discussions about events that had not yet happened, but later happened exactly as described. However, their voices seem to be coming from everywhere at once. A particularly disturbing account comes from a geological survey team that entered a larger cave to study rock formations in 1998. According to their report, they found evidence of habitation. There were patterns on the rock surface that looked like Arabic calligraphy. However, the letters were too large and too precise to be carved by human hands. As soon as the team entered the deepest chamber of the cave, their equipment began to malfunction. Their flashlights went dim, despite having new batteries. The most disturbing thing was that on their voice recordings from inside the cave, extra voices were caught responding to their conversations. Voices that no member of the team heard while speaking. Later, when the recordings were analyzed, the reactions indicated an understanding of the team's modern Arabic discussions, but the vocabulary and grammatical structure belonged to a much earlier time in the language. The content of these mysterious responses was even more intriguing. The voices seemed to have commented on the team's presence, discussing whether humans should be allowed in the sacred gathering place. Some voices argued in favor of tolerance, quoting verses from the Quran about the importance of knowledge and learning. Dr. Khaled Al-Otaibi, a linguist from the Islamic University of Madinah who analyzed the recordings, noted that the invisible speakers displayed deep knowledge of Quranic commentary and hadith literature. Their discussions referenced debates of scholars from the early Islamic centuries. This raises deep questions about the relationship between jinn and human religious development. If jinns have received Islamic teachings since the time of Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and have their own scholarship and religious authorities, the timing of activity in Wadi Al Jinn also coincides with the significant holy months of the Islamic calendar. Bedouin observers report that during the months of Rajab, Sha'ban and Ramadan, the events become much more intense. During this time, vehicle movement becomes frequent and dramatic. Electronic equipment malfunctions increase. During the holy month of Ramadan, in this time of fasting and spiritual reflection, multiple witnesses claim to have seen light forms burning in the valley at night. These lights appear in the shape of bright spheres and move towards the cave entrances in organized arrangements. The lights pulsate in rhythm with Quranic recitation. Some Islamic scholars who have studied the phenomena of Wadi Al Jinn propose that the valley serves as a kind of spiritual gateway. It is a place where the barrier between the visible and invisible worlds naturally becomes thin. They point to verses in the Quran that describe how Allah created multiple levels of existence. Each level has its own laws and characteristics. At specific places and times, this information gains support from accounts of people who claim to have received guidance or warnings through their experiences in Wadi Al Jinn. In several documented incidents, travelers lost in the desert were mysteriously guided towards safety by their cars. Others describe receiving warnings about dangers they had not yet faced. A particularly notable incident comes from a Saudi businessman who was stranded in the valley in 2012 when his car broke down during a sandstorm. While waiting for rescue, he heard a voice in clear Arabic providing detailed instructions to a water source and shelter. But it provided the necessary water and shade for him to survive until help arrived. Later, when search teams examined the area, they confirmed the existence of the oasis, but noted that its location made no sense geologically. Plant species were present around the oasis that are not supposed to survive in the harsh desert, yet they seemed healthy and well established. Such accounts raise questions about the nature of whether righteous jinns can offer help to humans in distress. Islamic teachings tell us that not all jinns are evil, and believing jinns are rewarded by Allah, just like believing humans. Righteous jinns live in Wadi Al Jinn. But can they truly offer help to travelers, especially those who remember Allah and recite His verses? Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us specific supplications for protection during travel. which includes seeking refuge in Allah from the evil of what He has created. These supplications acknowledge the existence of invisible forces. Travelers who have had positive experiences in Wadi Al Jinn often mention that they were careful to maintain their prayers and remembrance of Allah while in the valley. However, Islamic teachings also warn us about the danger of establishing contact with jinns or intentionally trying to communicate with them. Because he knew that humans lack the necessary knowledge and spiritual protection to distinguish between righteous and evil jinns. Those who try to establish contact with jinns are often influenced by evil entities, who pretend to be helpful spirits, but ultimately lead people away from the straight path. Some visitors come to the valley specifically hoping to encounter jinns, bringing equipment designed to prove supernatural activity. Such methods ignore Islamic guidance regarding these matters and potentially expose people to a spiritual danger they do not understand. But their ultimate goal is to lead humans into shirk, that is, the worship of something other than Allah. They may encourage people to believe that jinns possess independent power, instead of understanding that Allah alone possesses all power. The caves of Wadi Al Jinn have unfortunately attracted some individuals who wish to practice magic or sorcery. Such practices are strictly forbidden in Islam and are considered among the gravest sins. The Prophet ﷺ warned that magic and sorcery create a partnership with evil jinns, which forces the practitioner to commit acts of disbelief in Allah and rebellion against Him. Despite having GPS, they lose their way. Some experience mental distress and confusion that continues for a long time, even after leaving the valley. These effects serve as a kind of warning. The correct Islamic perspective to understand Wadi Al Jinn is to recognize it as one of Allah's signs. It is a place where His creation demonstrates a reality beyond the limits of normal human senses. Similarly, He has also established places where the existence of the invisible world becomes clear to observers in the light of faith and wisdom. Scientific investigation of Wadi Al Jinn can be valuable if conducted with proper understanding and respect. Without attempting to exploit or control supernatural forces, can increase our appreciation for the complexity and wonder of Allah's creation. Such studies may reveal new aspects of physics or geology that expand human knowledge and maintain appropriate humility towards mysteries. Geologist Dr. Sarah Al-Mansouri, who has conducted extensive research in Wadi Al Jinn, emphasizes the importance of approaching the valley with respect for local traditions and Islamic teachings. Her team follows protocols which include seeking permission from local tribal leaders, Dr. Al-Mansouri's findings indicate that the geological formation of Wadi Al Jinn contains unusual mineral deposits, which may contribute to the electromagnetic anomalies observed in the region. Her research has documented a correlation between increased electromagnetic activity and patterns of the Islamic lunar calendar. indicating influences beyond ordinary geological processes. However, the distribution of these minerals does not match where the strongest phenomena occur. Some active areas show relatively normal mineral composition, while areas with high magnetic material sometimes show no unusual activity. To propose that Wadi Al Jinn represents a field where multiple factors work together to create effects, both visible and invisible, that cannot be fully understood through materialistic or scientific methods alone. It indicates the necessity of a broader framework to acknowledge spiritual reality. The impact on visitors to Wadi Al Jinn often extends beyond the immediate experience of witnessing unusual events. Encountering unexplained forces serves as a reminder of the limitations of human knowledge and the reality of Allah's power over all creation. Institutions of Islamic universities have started organizing well-structured trips to Wadi Al Jinn as part of courses on Islamic cosmology and the nature of creation. Helping students understand how revealed Islamic knowledge provides context for explaining extraordinary phenomena. The valley serves as a practical demonstration of verses who understand both the scientific aspects of the valley and the Islamic principles that should govern human interaction with invisible forces. Students are shown proper etiquette for visiting such places, which includes reciting protective supplications, du'as, the importance of ablution, wudu, and regular prayer. Documenting the experience of Wadi Al Jinn has also contributed to Islamic scholarship regarding the nature of jinns and their relationship with humans. Contemporary scholars use reports from the valley to interpret classical explanations about jinns. The events serve as supporting evidence for the Quranic description of the invisible world and the complex nature of Allah's creation. Sheikh Abdullah Al-Ghamdi, a respected scholar from the Islamic University of Madinah, has written in detail about Wadi Al Jinn in the context of Islamic teachings on the invisible world. They should not be viewed as supernatural outside of Allah's natural order. Rather, they represent aspects of creation that humans cannot usually perceive, but become clear under specific circumstances. He warns against attributing independent power to jinns or treating them as objects of worship or fear. All power belongs to Allah alone, and both humans and jinns are subject to His will and command. The unusual activity of Wadi Al Jinn should increase our devotion and reverence for Allah. The Sheikh also discusses common misconceptions about jinns that have developed in popular culture. Movies and television shows often portray jinns as entities who grant wishes or possess unlimited power, an image that contradicts Islamic teachings. Like humans, they are not magical genies who fulfill human desires. This understanding becomes particularly important when explaining vehicle movement and other phenomena in Wadi Al Jinn. Instead of seeing these events as a display of jinn power, they can be better understood as side effects of increased spiritual activity in the region. When large numbers of jinns gather for worship or study, the electromagnetic disturbances recorded in the valley are not the result of deliberate alteration of matter by jinns, but rather arise from energy generated by their spiritual activity. Just as collective recitation and prayer in human religious gatherings create observable effects. This explanation is consistent with the events of Wadi Al Jinn, where it is seen that during times of Islamic significance, such as holy months and specially blessed nights like Laylat al-Qadr, these events become more intense. In this context, the caves of Wadi Al Jinn gain special importance. Instead of merely being shelters or hiding places, they may serve as dedicated spaces for jinn worship and education, just as humans use mosques and schools. Archaeological investigations of the caves have revealed features that support this theory. Evidence of intentional structure or acoustic engineering is found on the walls, which goes beyond natural erosion patterns. The layout of the larger caves includes areas that could serve as prayer spaces facing Mecca. However, researchers emphasize that the modifications to these caves appear to be very ancient, possibly centuries or even millennia old. Giving rise to the speculation that jinns themselves have modified these spaces over a long period for their religious purposes. The antiquity of these modifications indicates that Wadi Al Jinn has served as a center for jinn religious activity since ancient times. The continued use of these places in the modern era indicates the permanence and importance of this location in jinn society. Modern surveillance equipment placed in some caves has recorded activity when no humans were present. Audio equipment picks up sounds of recitation and discussion in classical Arabic. Most significantly, air quality monitors show changes in oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. These recordings provide scientific evidence for ongoing jinn activity in the caves. However, they raise ethical questions about human surveillance of jinn religious practices. Some Islamic scholars argue that observing jinn worship without their consent violates Dr. Ahmed Al-Habibi, a researcher in Islamic ethics, has proposed guidelines for scientific investigation of places like Wadi Al Jinn. He suggests that research should focus on understanding natural phenomena, instead of documenting the private activities of jinn communities. Acknowledging that both groups have legitimate claims to use and inhabit these places, these ethical considerations become particularly important because interest in Wadi Al Jinn continues to grow. In recent years, tourism to the valley Where spiritual activity is happening, they seek thrills by confronting supernatural phenomena without proper respect for this sanctity. Local authorities have enforced regulations for managing tourism in Wadi Al Jinn. These measures aim to protect both human visitors and the Jinn community using the valley while continuing appropriate research and education. The experience of Wadi Al Jinn ultimately serves as a powerful reminder of the complexity and wonder of Allah's creation. Places like this valley provide real evidence of dimensions of reality and the existence of entities beyond normal human perception. For Muslims, Wadi Al Jinn confirms the truth of the Quran's teachings about the invisible world and the existence of jinns. The valley stands as a sign for those who reflect, pointing towards the greater mysteries of creation waiting to be discovered by those who approach them with correct knowledge and understanding. The story of Wadi Al Jinn continues. Each discovery adds to the growing body of evidence that supports Islamic teachings about the nature of reality and the existence of worlds beyond our normal senses. Scientists still fear entering the deepest caves of Wadi Al Jinn. The boundary between the visible and invisible worlds remains thin, which shows a glimpse of reality